Good evening, Mr. Zakir. I'm J.C. Vin, a student from this university. Non-Muslim. 5 times daily, Muslims gather together to perform their daily prayer. I should say that Islam is a very peaceful religion that promotes unity. Unfortunately, in Malaysia, even among Muslims, unity is not something that is cheap. So, as a Muslim, I practice. What are the things that you can suggest to every Muslim in this country to stay united? Thank you.
Thank you.
The brother has said that Muslims pray 5 times a day. That's good. He's asking, can I suggest something that will keep the Muslims united? And I'm giving a talk tomorrow, the importance of the unity in the Muslim Ummah. And that's a full-fledged lecture. But the reply to your question is, Allah gives the reply in the glorious Quran, in Surah Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 103, which says that, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold to the rope of Allah strongly and be not divided. The rope of Allah, it is the glorious Quran. That the Muslims should hold together to the rope of Allah, the glorious Quran, and the authentic hadith of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and be not divided. The only factor that Muslim, not only of Malaysia, but the Muslim of the whole world can be united is on the basis of the glorious Quran, which is the last and final revelation, and the authentic hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hold together strongly and be not divided. That is the best uniting factor. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Mr. Zakir.
Thank you for your question. I would like to request all the people who like to ask questions to form a queue so that it will ensure the smoothness of this question and answer session. Now we will move to the mic on my left from the Muslimin.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. My name is Uwais bin Sha'ari, and I am a student from UUM, and I take Islamic Finance and Banking. My question is, as we know, Prophet Adam alayhi salam is the first human being on earth. But before Prophet Adam alayhi salam is created, is there another creature that live on earth before Prophet Adam alayhi salam? Thank you.
I think the chairperson was very clear that please pose question on the topic. What has the question got to do with the topic? What is the purpose of our life? The topic of today's talk is, what is the purpose of life? I can give the reply to your question, I don't mind giving, but the chairperson said that question should be asked on the topic, otherwise it becomes an open. So please ask questions on the topic, what is the purpose of life? So we'll be limited to the topic. Thank you. And all those who like to ask a question, can they please queue behind the 4 microphones so that we save time? And even the sisters, if they can queue behind the microphone so that we can go to the next question faster. Any sisters behind would like to ask a question? Any sister from the microphone behind? MashaAllah, the sisters have understood the lecture very well. Either very well or nothing, one of the two. Yes, can we have the question from the sister?
Can we get the question from the sister right at the back on my left?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. I'm Rosita Abdullah. I'm a teacher and mother. I would like to ask one question. During the golden age that we know, our scholar is master in the both like Islamic studies and the science. But now we found out that like in Malaysia especially, our system education is like separately between science and Islamic study. So if the student, like our student want to choose, which one is the best? Is it Islamic studies or science? Because we know that now we still need a da'i from the science area, because we know that the knowledge is already expand very fast. So for our youngers and our students, which one is the best that we can choose? Either Islamic studies or engineering or medical or such as. So I would like you to advise, and then if we choose like science area, how we can be a good success da'i. Shukran.
Sister asked for a good question and a very relevant question, that she's the teacher and she's a mother, and she asks that what should we choose between the two? Should we make our children and study the Islamic teachings in the Islamic schools, or in the science and technology field? Which is better of the two? And the reply to this question, which is very commonly asked, in the year 2000, Alhamdulillah, about 18 years back, we started a school in Bombay by the name of Islamic International School. And the main motto, brother, can you? Yes. Jazakallah shukr. Close to the microphone, yes, so that we can. And the motto of the school was education for both the worlds. That means education for deen and dunya both. And that is the best. Education for both the worlds is the best. Because when a person knows the value and is educated by the worldly thing, then studies deen simultaneously, he can understand deen better. So best is education for both the worlds. And in our school, we used to teach Arabic from the age of 3. From nursery itself, we used to teach Arabic and English. Then they read the Quran, 1/3 of them become Hafiz the Quran. By the time they reach standard 5, they Hafiz the Quran. MashaAllah. But we select about 1/3 students. By the time they reach standard 5, girl or boy has to be black belt in Taekwondo and Karate. Compulsory. If the child is weak, he becomes black belt or she becomes black belt in standard 6. Compulsory. Swimming, compulsory. We used to teach public speaking at the age of 1st standard. From the age of 6, they start public speaking. Arabic public speaking from 2nd and 3rd standard. We used to teach them, besides Quran, Hadith, Sharia, Fiqh, along with the science, we used to teach Islamic studies and Arabic. When we taught them science, we used to incorporate 25% of the Islamic teachings in science. For example, when we spoke about the Big Bang, that we learn in science about the Big Bang, that first there was the primary nebula, a whole universe was a primary nebula, then there was a secondary separation, which gave rise to stars, galaxies, and the earth we live in. We say this, Allah says 1400 years ago. What they discovered today, recently in 1973, Allah says 1400 years back in Surah Anbiya, chapter number 21, verse number 30. Avalam yaral lazina kafuru. Do not the unbelievers see anna samawati wal arda kanat ratkan faftaqnahuma, that the heavens and the earth were joined together and we clove them asunder. So we tell them what the scientists got Nobel Prize 50 years back, our beloved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed in the Quran 1400 years ago. When we talk about water cycle, we give examples of the Quran water cycle. When we talk about geology, biology, zoology, we talk about embryology, the child is empowered. Okay, my deen is more powerful than science, what is today. What we learn today is already mentioned in our religious scriptures 14 years ago. So the child is proud to be a Muslim. The best is education for both the worlds. And when we find that certain things which are against the Islamic teaching, for example, Darwin's theory, how the human beings were formed, we give them the scientific proof that what Darwin said that we are evolved from ape is wrong, and we give them scientific basis. We teach them, repeat what is mentioned in the textbook, but give them additional information. So we repeat what is mentioned in the textbook, but we say, according to P.P. Grasse, this is wrong. According to so-and-so scientists, then we give the list of scientists. So we train them in the syllabus, and when they pass, they don't get a degree from India or a Muslim university, they get from Cambridge Board, Oxford. direct Cambridge, IGCSE. And once they pass, they can get admission anywhere in the world. So we have an amalgamation of the formal education with the Islamic education, Quran, Hadith, Sharia, Fiqh, and Dawah. Besides Quran, we teach them about the Bible, we teach them about Hindu scriptures, about comparative religion. Our children can speak, mashallah. So at the same time, they are trained. And our first batch, the first batch of a school, the first batch was passed in 2010, about 8 years back. And the girl which came out first from a school, out of 5 subjects, 4 subjects, she got 100 out of 100. She topped. She was a world topper. A Muslimah, wearing hijab, black belt in Taekwondo and Karate, knowing Arabic as a language, Hafizul Quran, knowing swimming, mashallah. She topped. She topped the world. So this is education for both the worlds. And this is the best concept. I didn't have time to expand towards the end of my talk because normally I speak for 1 hour 15 minutes and my talk extended to 1.5 hours. So I cut short my speech. It's important. Education for both the worlds is very important. But if you ask me the question, which is better of the two? Best is both. But if the science you learn in your school, in your colleges, in your university does not get you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that science is useless. So many a times our children go to the Western university and instead of becoming closer to Allah, they become atheist because they're taught wrong things. So you have to be careful when we put them into the so-called secular education. It's not haram, it's good, but you have to be careful. Best is a striking balance between the two. And I know there are many people who are asking me to build such a school in Malaysia. And believe me, to make a school is too time consuming because of my other projects. But if Allah wills, inshallah, we should have a school in which when the child comes out, we should be proud of our children. At the same time, we teach them business studies, we teach them ICT. So best is, and when he passes from the school, like a normal madrasa, when a person becomes an alim, if you compare our student, inshallah, they will be able to be better. They speak Arabic fluently. All my 3 children, my son, mashallah, is black belt in Taekwondo, Hafizul Quran, speaks Arabic fluently. Both my daughters, they are black belt, they are good swimmers, mashallah. And mashallah, Hafizul Quran, the Arabic is fluent. Now all 3 of them now studying in Jamiatul Imam. My son is in Jamiatul Imam and my daughter in Jamiatul Noora in Riyadh. Jamiatul Imam, according to me, is one of the best Islamic universities in the world in terms of Islamic knowledge in Arabic. And they speak Lugha Fusha. So best is put them in a school which has the striking balance between the two. The Islamic education and the formal education. I don't say secular, I say formal. And teach them the Islamic values. They will grow up to be like proud Muslims. This is the best. If you don't have an alternative, then I know there are schools, Islamic schools in Malaysia, may not be up to the standard that what we have in Bombay, but there are Islamic schools. What we should do, we should guide these people and see to it that the Islamic value increases. And best is to put in an Islamic school which has education for the both, and at the same time, we should make our children, the role models should be the people I named in my lecture. Some are at the time of the Prophet, some are the Sahaba, some next generation, we have in the middle generation, we have in this generation. And we teach them the skills of public speaking, about lecturing, about debating. And we want that 50% of our school children should go in the mainstream, become doctors, engineers, scientists. But then when they become doctors, they have knowledge of Quran and Sunnah. When they become engineers, they have knowledge of Quran and Sunnah. And 50% should go Islamic field, da'is, Islamic teachers, shuyukhs, mufassirin, muhaddisin. So this was the purpose. And you know, when we get success, the enemies of Islam are against you. So you know that because of Allah's help, the success we got in India and in our field, the enemies of Islam were against, and the Indian government wanted to close our school. Alhamdulillah, we were able to give to some of the Muslim brothers. They may not be running the school to the same level, but yet the school is continuing. Inshallah, if Allah wills, and if time permits, we should have such schools in all over the world, including Malaysia and including Perlis also. Hope that answers the question. But between the two sisters, please, if there's choice between Islamic and science, I would give more importance to Islamic. But give part to Islamic which has, if not completely, at least part of modern education. Because be sure that the Islamic education would be for akhirah. And your children will also get dunya. If you could put to a normal school, see, I'm coming from a normal convent school. I thank Allah that He made me a dai. That doesn't mean I went to a convent school, all should go to convent schools. It was Allah's help that even though I went to a convent school, I'm a doctor by profession, Allah gave me hidayah. I became a doctor because I thought it was the most noble profession, treating human beings. That is noble. But when I found a nobler profession of a dai, as Allah says in the Quran in Surah Fussilat, chapter number 41, verse number 33, Allah says, وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا قَالَ إِنَّنِي الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who invites to the way of thy Lord, works righteousness, and says that I am a Muslim? And if you have that purpose of life, education is not main. It is your mission. Sheikh Didat, 6th standard pass. And he reached the pinnacle. So we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may He guide us and guide our children, guide the Muslim Ummah to achieve the purpose of our life. Hope that answers the question.
Right. Thank you. I would like to check, is there any questioner on the mic behind for the Muslimah? No. Okay, once again, I would like to reinstate that please ask questions related to the topic of tonight, which is, what is the purpose of life? Okay? So, we're moving on to the mic right in front of me from the brother. Please state your name and also your profession. And your question, make it brief so that we can have more time for others to ask questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Very thanks to Dr.Zakir Naik for excellent talks on purpose of life. Myself, Razul, I'm a medical doctor. My question is about the purpose of life, meaning we have to follow all the words in the Quran. And one of the important words in the Quran told to us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to follow the law that has been designed to the humankind. In the law of Islamic law that has been designed to the humankind. So in the Islamic law, as you know, we have hudud, we have qisas, and we have all these things. But simply in current present time, we have problem to practice all the laws. So as a Muslim and in conjunction with the purpose of life, how are we going to practice with all the ayah in the Quran?
Well, that's the question, that if we are Muslims, we want to achieve the purpose of life, we have to follow the Quran. There's the Islamic law, there's law of hudud, how do we practice it? Brother, in the Quran, there are some guidelines which every individual Muslim should do, and some are guidelines of society. First, you have to see to it that are you following the guidelines what Allah has told to an individual Muslim? Praying, believing in Tawheed, fasting, giving zakat, all these are individual. Regarding the law of hudud, this is about government laws. Allah will not ask you and me who are not involved in the government that whether you practice the hudud or not. That hudud law is only if you have an Islamic society completely. If you have, then you have to follow. As an individual Muslim, first you have to see all those laws which you as an individual human being are following or not. There are some laws which are punishment. It is not required for every individual Muslim to give punishment to the other Muslim. That's only required by the Islamic authorities. And that is not to be followed in every country, only if the country in which the Muslims are in majority or in total majority or whatever you can. But if the country is in majority, yes, you should strive to achieve that level. But as an individual Muslim, you and I, first we have to follow that which is the commandment to an individual human being, it's a must. Those which are societal, you should try and improve the society. That doesn't mean you should not try and implement the Islamic Sharia. So yes, you should try. But Allah will not question you as an individual. Allah will question you on the individual things. But if you ask me, which is the best law to be followed so that you have the maximum peace, it is the law of the Quran. The best time was at the time of the Prophet Muhammad and the Khulafa Rashidin. The least rate of robbery, least rate of rape, The maximum peace was at the time of the Khulafa Rashidin. So if someone wants to implement on a government level, this is the best. But it has to be done in stages. You cannot implement everything if all are not Muslims. If all are Muslims, easy. If more than 95% of the people are Muslim, it's easy. Yet, you have many countries in the world which are more than 95, yet they don't implement. Because all the Muslims may not be Islamic. But naturally the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best. There's no better law than the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you. Now, we are moving on to the mic on my right. Please, brother, state your name and your profession and your question in brief.
Yes. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. My name is Muhammad Hashim bin Muhammad Zain, student of Faculty of Applied Science from UiTM Perlis. My question is, to fulfill our purpose of life, we are following this religion. But also Allah said in Surah Al-Baqarah chapter 2 verse 120. And also Prophet also warned us in his last sermon in Arafah. He said that Shaitan have given hope in leaders doing astray, so don't follow him in small matters. My question is about those rumors and theory. Do you believe that there is a world-class organization who are trying to make us deflect from our real purpose of life by using such entertainment, sport and songs called Illuminati? Thank you, sir. Do you believe it exists or not? Thank you, sir.
Brother asked a question and he said Allah says that the Satan is trying to divert you. He said Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse number 120. He gave the reference but didn't quote the verse. Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 120 says Walan tarda ankal yahudu walan nasara hatta tattabil millatihum, that the Jews and the Christians will never be satisfied until you follow their way of life. I don't know whether he meant this verse or some other verse, but Surah Baqarah chapter 2 verse 110 is Walan tarda yankal yahudu walan nasara hatta tattabil millatihum, that the Jews and Christians will never be satisfied until you follow their band of land. His question is that, do you believe that there are some organizations that are trying to divert the human beings into things which will take you away from the deen, like music and movies or whatever it is, or Fayyashi, etc. And what's my comment about Illuminati? If you ask me, there are organizations diverting you, 100% there are many. Regarding Illuminati, I have heard of it. I have not done much research, but I do agree that there are many organizations and many people working to divert the people away from our Creator Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whether it be politically, whether it be materially, whether it be educationally. Therefore you have to be careful. And I say that we as Muslims should be careful, that we should stick to the Quran and Sunnah. If we stick to the Quran and Sunnah, we will find that we will achieve the purpose of our life. There are many organizations in education, whether it be science, whether it be technology, whether it be entertainment. They create, whether it be Hollywood, whether it be Disney World. If you know the background, they create all this cartoon, Tom and Jerry, no problem. But Tom and Jerry, they're teaching you, girlfriend, boyfriend. They're teaching you from young age. What harm in my son watching Tom and Jerry? What harm? They are inculcating in your small child of the age of 4, 5, 6, girlfriend, boyfriend. So when he grows old, girlfriend, boyfriend. Against Islamic teaching. They teach about homosexuality. So we have to be careful. That's the reason. What we do, the sister asked the question. We Islamicize. Though we take the syllabus of Cambridge, we have got training sessions for our teachers. 5 days is school for the children. For the teachers, they come 6 days. 1 day is to inculcate the Islamic aspects in your science, in your mathematics, in your history, in your geography. We go through the full syllabus. We have teachers trainer. Our teacher-student ratio, you know how much? For every one teacher, there is about 2.5 students. For every staff, for every 2 staff, there are 3 students. For every 2 staff, 3 students. 200 students, 150 staff. This is our ratio. When our teachers teach hifz, one qari teaches only 2 students. When we go to these schools, these international schools, they have music classes. Full with, completely with soundproof glasses, so that when they teach, the voice doesn't go out. What we do, we have got his classes, his cabin. His cabin, soundproof, made of glass. So that when you recite loudly, your partner doesn't get disturbed. We take the idea, but implement for the cause of Allah. What we have to be careful of this education, of this entertainment, of these movies. According to survey, on an average, a child of the age of 7 or 8 first time goes to a pornographic site. How? Because through these cartoons, it diverts to pornographic site. I've given a separate lecture on this topic. Time will not permit me. I have not completed. So you have to be careful. What you want to call them, forget it. Let's not go into names, whether Illuminati, whether it is this or whether it... But there is a big movement. We as Muslims should be careful. Our guidelines is the Quran and Sunnah. And we have to be careful that anything which diverts you from Allah and His Rasul, we have to be away from that. And we have people trying to, make it, and we feel everything is modern. Yes, being modern is no problem. But if that modern takes you away from Allah and His Rasul, then stay away from it. So we have to be careful when we check. Pick up the good things. Of the non-Muslim, no problem. But be careful. Don't get trapped and go away from your deen. That's the reason our Prophet Muhammad said that towards Qiyamah you'll have many number of Muslims, but they'll be like froth, no value. Today Muslims are 25% of the world, but what's the value? At the time of the Prophet, from the 8th to the 10th century, Muslims on top of the world. If you wanted to learn science, you had to learn Arabic. The father of chemistry, Jabir, they call Geber is Jabir ibn Hayyan, who distilled alcohol. Alcohol comes from the English word, from the Arabic word al-gul. At a time when before Einstein spoke about the theory of relativity, it was the Muslim scholars. Trigonometry, Balaptusi, the person who taught the zero was a Muslim. You can give a lecture only on the development of science done by the Muslims, because we were on top of the world. At that time, we were close to Quran and Sunnah. Because we were close to Quran and Sunnah, the advances we did in science was excellent. Today, we Muslims are away from Quran and Sunnah. Because we are away from Quran and Sunnah, we are at the bottom today. We are being hammered everywhere. You see in the world, we are being criticized, we are being tortured, we are being killed, and we are no force. We should be united on the basis of Quran and Sunnah and see to it that we teach our children and our generation to become close to Quran and Sunnah. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next questioner, I would like to ask, is there any other non-Muslims in the crowd that would like to ask question? Is there any other non-Muslims in the crowd that would like to ask the question? No? Okay, fine. I would like to move on to the sister at the back to my left. Is there any questioner there? Okay. Sister, please state your name, your profession, and make your question brief. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Nur Amira binti Muhammad Yusuf. I am a student of Diploma in Science. So my question is, in my journey to get Allah's pleasure and to get my purpose to get straight into Jannah, I have found two paths in my life, which is Sunni and Wahhabi. So can you briefly explain to me what is the difference between Sunni and Wahhabi, so I will get clear of these two matters? Thank you.
Sister asked the question that in the journey to purpose of life, you can pose a question and make it on the topic by putting the topic in your question. All this is, anyway, since the sister wants to know, her main question is, she wants to know what is the difference between Sunni and Wahhabi. Sister, if you read the Quran, there is no word as Sunni or Wahhabi in the Quran. There is no word called Sunni and Wahhabi. Yes, one of the attributes of Allah is Wahhab. He's loving. We all should be Abdul Wahhab. Should be servant of Allah, servant of the attribute of Allah, love. And Sunni means following the Sunnah of the Prophet. So every Muslim in that context should follow the sunnah of the Prophet. So Sunni means following the sunnah of the Prophet. Every Muslim should be a Sunni. If he's not a Muslim, if he's not a Sunni, then he's not a practicing Muslim. This is the literal meaning of the Sunni. Wahhabi means if you believe in Allah, every Muslim should be a Wahhabi. But what the world called about Sunni and Wahhabi, different countries have different label. In my country, Sunni has a different label. In this country, Sunni has a different meaning. But the word Sunni means following Sunnah. Every Muslim should follow Sunnah. Wahhab is the attribute of Allah. We should love. If you say Abdul Wahhab, every Muslim should be Abdul Wahhab. Should be servant. In short, sister, your purpose of life should be to follow Allah and His Rasul. I told the Islamic role. Islamic. Allah and His Rasul. Allah says in the Quran, in Surah Nisa, chapter 4, verse number 59, Atiullah wa atiur Rasul. Obey Allah and obey the Messenger. And those who are Ulul Amr, with those who have the knowledge, Allah has bestowed the power of knowledge. Means the ulamas. But the verse doesn't end there. If the ulamas, if the scholars differ, go back to Allah and His Rasul. So if the scholars, all the scholars say, you pray 5 times, you pray 5 times, no problem. Give zakat 2.5, 2.5. If they differ, go back to Allah and His Rasul, check with Quran and Sahih Hadith which is correct. The problem is what you know. In India, when first time automobiles came in India, people didn't know how to drive the car. So the company we sold the car, when you purchase the car, the company also gave the driver along with the car. I'm talking about 100 years back. So one rich businessman, he buys a car. And along with the car, the company gives the driver. So one day, the businessman tells, driver, get the car ready, I want to take my wife for shopping. So driver says, sir, the car is not in working order. How come? Get the car immediately in working order. So the driver said, to put the car in working order, I require 10 kgs of honey, 20 kgs of rice, basmati rice, 30 liters of milk and 40 kgs of honey. So the rich businessman gives him the 10 kg of ghee, 20 liters of milk, basmati rice and honey, and the car is in working condition. Sister, I am asking you the question. If your driver today tells you that I want honey, ghee, basmati rice and milk to keep the car in working condition, will you give him? Will you give him, yes or no?
I can fix the car. I will not give the...
I'm not asking you to fix the car, I'm asking you the question. If the driver asks you to put the car in working condition, I require basmati rice, I require ghee, I require honey, I require milk. Will you give him?
Of course.
Of course, yes.
Yes, I will give because that's the way to fix the car, to get the car work.
MashaAllah. Which age are you living in, sister? Which university are you studying in?
What?
Which university are you studying in?
UITM.
UTM. This university? I'm asking your rector, okay. I'm asking your rector now. Sir, if your driver says, give me milk, give me honey, give me ghee, give me rice to put the car in working condition, will you give him? You will, what do? You will sack him off the job, correct? If the driver of this university says, I want ghee, I want rice, I want milk, your rector is saying he will sack him out of the job. You will give him. So the problem is, sister, if you don't know the basics of car, you are studying in university, that the car doesn't require rice, doesn't require ghee, doesn't require milk.
Okay, I get it now, sir.
Oh, very good, very intelligent.
Sorry, it was...
Today, maybe the sound system is not good and you could not hear. I was talking about the car.
Okay.
Car. Any car, Toyota, Pradana, whichever car, Perudua, Proton, any car. Even Proton doesn't work on ghee, rice. So today, if you tell a person, if the driver says, give me ghee, rice and honey, you will kick him out of the job, because even if you don't know how to repair the car, we know very well that a car does not work on milk, honey, it works on petrol and diesel. Correct? So similarly today, sister, if we know the basic teachings of Quran and the Hadith, no one will take you for a ride. So if you know the basic teachings of Quran, read the Quran with translation. Read the translation of the hadith in the language you understand the best, whether it be English, whether it be Bahasa, whether it be Malay. If you understand, people will not take you for a ride. And if the car is really spoiled, you take to a mechanic, then you can ask an expert. So we as Muslims should follow Allah and His Rasul. Follow Quran and the Sahih Hadith. There are scholars. If the scholars differ, go back to Allah and His Rasul. Allah says in the Quran, I said in my talk, in the answer before, Surah Fussilat, chapter 41, verse number 33. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا قَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Who is better in speech than one who invites to the way of thy Lord, works righteousness, and says that I am a Muslim. The best label you can give yourself is Muslim. قَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Say that I am a Muslim. So the best label any Muslim can give himself, Allah calls you as Muslim. You have to follow Quran and Sahih Hadith. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Now moving on. Do we have a question from the sister to my right? No question? Okay, we will move on to the questioner on the mic in front of me. Brother, please state your name.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Syahmi and I'm an engineering student of UNIMED. And I just want to ask one question for you, Dr. Zakir Naik, regarding our Aqidah, which is believing that Allah is in Arash, staying in the Arash. Some of our Muslim believing that Allah is everywhere. What will happen to their Aqidah if they are believing in this kind of way? Even though that the Quran saying that Allah is at the Arash. That's all.
But if you read the Quran is very clear that Allah is on His throne. It's very clear cut. And the throne extends to the heavens and the earth. We should not put our own words in the attributes of Allah. The best is you have to describe Allah the way He has described Himself and the way the Prophet had described. We should not put our own words and own understanding. The best Aqidah is describe Allah the way He has described Himself and the way the Prophet had done. You should not add anything or delete anything from that. What the Quran says, repeat that verse and that is the best. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Now we would like to move on to the mic on my left. Brother, please state your name, your profession and make your question brief.
Testing. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nadrin Ghazali. I am from Planting in Industry Management and Agro-Technology from UITM Arau. Okay, my question is, the purpose of life as a Muslim is to serve Allah with all our might. And the branches from it is to fight for our religion when it's come, when the need is come to us. So the question is, how come we, the youth, the student, want to contribute in this fight for Islam in order to fulfill our purpose as a Muslim in our life? Thank you.
Thank you.
The brother asked the question that the purpose in life is seeking the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have to fight for our religion. How as we students can do to fight for our religion? Number one, fight the devil in you. Number one. Jihad fil nafs.
Yes.
The biggest fight is fighting against your nafs.
Yeah.
The devil which is in us. Our beloved Prophet ﷺ said, the devil flows in the veins of the human being like the blood flows in the human being. The number one fight is fight against our nafs. Oh, you want to do these wrong things. You want to do zina. Okay, stop it. You want to do things which are wrong. So best for fighting for any human being, for any Muslim, is fight the devil in us. And then follow the Quran and Sunnah. And we have to strive. The best is jihad. The right word is not fight, it is jihad. Jihad means to strive and struggle. To strive and struggle to make the society better. To strive and struggle to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. So we should see to it that we reach a higher level. First you do the farais, then you do the sunnat muakkada, then do the sunnat ghayr muakkada. You keep on striving to reach a higher level. Praying 5 times? Okay, praying 5 times in the mosque. Then see to it that you read the Sunnat-e-Mawqida 12. Then you read Tahajjud. All these keep on striving to reach a better level. Whether it be in Salah, whether it be in charity. Okay, fine. Minimum charity is Zakat, 2.5%. Then, okay, I will give 10% of my earnings. I want to give 20% of my earnings. I want to give 30%. The more you give charity, better for you. The more you fast, okay, minimum fasting is fasting in the month of Ramadan. Okay, then I want to fast of the Muharram, then the fast of Ashura, then the 10 days of Zilhajjah, then you want to do Shawwal fasting, then you want to do Ayyamul Bid. Every time you can keep on going closer and closer. First do the Fara'is, then keep on doing as much as Sunnah possible. This is the best for you to achieve the objective and reach the goal that is Jannah. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Now we are moving on to the sister to my left, behind. Please state your name, your profession, and also the question briefly. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Shafika binti Muhammad Zamri.
Can you speak louder, sister? Sorry.
My name is Shafika binti Muhammad Zamri. I am an accounting student from Perlis Matriculation College. You said earlier that human being engines are the only creation that can choose whether to obey or disobey Allah. So from what I know, Allah has set the destiny for each one of us, whether we are going to end up in the hellfire or the heaven. And we always hear that everything happens for a reason. So if everything has planned, then what is the point of obeying the rules?
Sister, that's a very, very relevant question, very good question, and a common question asked about Qadar. That if everything is destined, that when we are going to hell or heaven, everything is mentioned in the Qadar, so where is the question of the test? Correct, sister? If everything is mentioned, already mentioned, that I'm going to rob, and if my Qadar says I'm going to rob and I rob, so why am I to blame? Allah is to blame. And this is the question which is asked. The reply to this is that I would like to give you an example. That in a classroom, a teacher teaches the student. At the end of the year, after teaching, before the examination, the teacher predicts that this student, he'll come out first class first. This student will come out second class. This student, he will fail. And the examination takes place. This student comes first class first. This student gets second class. That student fails. The student who fails, can he tell the teacher, because you predicted I will fail, I failed? Can he blame the teacher? Can the student who failed blame the teacher that because you predicted I will fail, I failed? Can he blame the teacher? No. Why? The teacher knows this student is very studious, does his homework very well, attends all the classes, will come out first class first. This student average second class. This student, he bunks the class, plays hookies, goes for movies, doesn't. Just an example, don't get angry. So just because the teacher predicted he will fail, he cannot blame and say because the teacher predicted I failed, because the teacher knew that he does not do the homework. Now the difference between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah has ilm ghaib. He has knowledge of the future. And it is not because Allah has written that you are doing, Allah knows in advance what you will be doing and you have done it. For example, if you come at a crossroad, you can either choose road 1, 2, 3, 4. You choose road 2. Allah knows in advance that on the 2nd of December, you will come at a crossroad. You have 4 choices, 1, 2, 3, 4. You will choose road 2. So not because Allah says you are choosing road 2, because you will be choosing road 2, Allah writes in advance. Once you pass a university, you know that you can work honestly or you can rob dishonestly. You choose to rob. Who's to blame, Allah or you? You are to blame. But Allah knows in advance that once you finish your university, you have the option of becoming a good, honest person or robbing. You choose to rob. So it is not because Allah has written you are doing, because you will be doing, Allah writes in advance. Allah is ilm ghaib. The teacher is mostly correct but can make a mistake because she is a human being or he is a human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ilm ghaib. He has knowledge of the future. He knows in advance. So he writes it in advance. That's the reason Allama Iqbal, a very great Islamic poet, said that खुदी को कर इतना बुलंद कि हर तकदीर के पहले खुदा अपने बंदे से खुद पूछे बता तेरी रजा क्या है. It's an Urdu couplet which says that make yourself so great that Allah before writing the destiny asks his servant that what do you want and I will make you that. It means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has knowledge of the future. Allah has given you the option that you can do something honestly, you can do dishonestly. You choose to do it dishonestly. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because he has ilm ghaib, he writes in advance. But who's to blame for the dishonesty? You or Allah? Who's to blame? The human being. Allah gave you the choice. The choice was yours. Allah told you, don't cheat, don't rob, but you rob. Who's to blame you? So this is talking about the qadar, that Allah has written the qadar, but you make the choice. Therefore you are responsible and not Allah. Hope that answers the question, sister.
Due to the limited time that we have, we can only take the last two questions. And I will take the question from the sister behind, and also followed by the brother in front of me, on the right in front of me. I'm sorry for those people who like to ask questions. I'm afraid that we are unable to take your questions for this time. Okay, Dr. Zakir Naik has requested for one more last round. So we will go on from that sister at the back, followed by this brother at the front, this brother on my left, and also a last questioner from the sister behind, if they have. Okay, now we move on to our sister. Please state your name, your profession, and also the question that you have.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nahida bin Tahir. I am a medical graduate from Cairo University. So my question is, regarding the purpose of life, that you are to call to people to good and nahi anil munkar and to da'wah basically. We're quite familiar with La ikraha fid din, the verse La ikraha fid din, and it never really sits with me well that apostasy is to be executed. So can you briefly explain on that, if there is similar rulings in other religions?
Sister, can you repeat the question again?
Apostasy.
Sister, can you ask a question that is relevant to the topic?
My question is regarding that, because people have asked me that, and to like Christians, when I want to call people to Islam, and it's like I don't really know what to say about that one.
I'm sorry, sister, it's not relevant to the topic.
Thank you.
There's an answer on the YouTube of Dr. Zakir Naik that you can find the answer there. Inshallah, you can view it there, inshallah. Now moving on to our brother in front of me. Please state your name, your profession, and also your question briefly.
Yes, okay. Assalamu alaikum and a very good night to everyone. My name is Nur Ahmad Ikmal bin Nordin, and I am a student from Perlis Matriculation College, or College Matriculasi Perlis. Okay, my question is, if we have been given two choices, which is compulsory, catching our dreams or fulfilling our purpose or responsibilities, which one is more better? Thank you.
Thank you.
If I heard the question correctly, that if you have a choice of fulfilling your dream or fulfilling your purpose, which is more important?
Yes.
Unless you don't tell me what is your dream and what is your purpose, I cannot say which is important. Fine? So if you tell me if your dream is close to Quran and Sunnah, then dream is more important. If your purpose is close to Quran and Sunnah, purpose is more important. Some people may have the dream that my dream is to go to Jannat-e-Firdaus. Very good. So, whichever is closer to Quran and Sunnah, that is more important. Whichever, if you judge according to Quran and Sunnah, suppose your purpose is to go to Jannah, but your dream is to go to Jannat-e-Firdaus, then dream is more important than purpose. If your dream is to become an actor, but the purpose is to go to Jannah, then your purpose is more important than your dream. So unless you don't tell me your dream and your purpose, I cannot tell you which is more important. According to the Muslim, for the Muslim, which is the ultimate goal? Which is the ultimate goal for a Muslim?
Jannah.
Jannah. You can only answer of what knowledge you have. Is there anything higher than Jannah? No. Of course. Jannat-e-Firdaus. Is there anything higher than Jannat-e-Firdaus? Jannat-al-Firdaus al-Ala. Is there anything higher than Jannat-e-Firdaus al-Ala? What is it? The ultimate happiness, the ultimate goal for a pious Muslim is to see the wajh of Allah. Everyone in Jannah will not see the wajh of Allah, the face of Allah. The highest level that a Muslim can desire is to desire to see the face of Allah in Jannat-al-Firdaus al-Ala maximum time. Because even in Jannah you desire. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not show his face to everyone in Jannah. Jannah is the minimum goal. Higher is Jannat-e-Firdaus, Jannat-e-Firdaus. Because in Jannah there is Jannah. A place close to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam where we see the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the highest level is that. So if your dream is that,
yes,
then mashallah, it's very good. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, moving on to the next questioner, the brother on my left. Please state your name, your profession, and also your question briefly.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you, Doctor, for your educative lecture. My name is Shamsuddin Muhammad Ahmad, PhD student with University of Malaysia Police. Actually, the lecture is, what is the purpose of life? As you said, Doctor, the purpose is to serve Allah, and we need to have a plan on ground for us to achieve what we want to achieve. You give example of Sheikh Didat, who has done a lot, contributed in the field of comparative religion. Actually, since 2010, we developed interest in the area of comparative religion, especially in my country, because of the nature of the country having non-Muslims, many non-Muslims. We were able to establish a center named after his name, Sheikh Ahmad Didat International Comparative Religion Foundation. And at that time, Yusuf Didat was there to launch the foundation. My question is that the challenge we have, the comparators, especially the comparative religion students, we always ask ourselves, when we look at the way Sheikh Didat delivers lecture, how he memorized Quran, Bible, then we came to realize that Sheikh Didat named you as Didat Plus. So whenever we are discussing among ourselves, we say that Sheikh Ahmad Didat, Dr. Zakir Naik, some people, they call you a magic. So my question is that, as comparators, as students of comparative religions, what is the secret of having a retentive memory? What is the secret of memorization of the Quran? What is the secret of Bible? Doctor, I want you to reveal the secret today. What is the magic? Thank you, Doctor.
The brother asked me that. He has been inspired by Sheikh Ahmad Didat and started a center in his country. And Sheikh Didat has called me Didat Plus. That was the humility of Sheikh Didat, that he called me Didat Plus. But he's asking me, what is the secret of that quotation of the Quranic verses, the Bible, etc.? What is that secret? Brother, it is an open secret. And I've said that many a times. The secret, it is the glorious Quran. Allah says in the Quran, number 1, in Surah Imran, chapter number 3, verse number 160. If Allah helps you, none can overcome you. If Allah forsakes you, who is there then who can help you? So let the believers put their faith in Allah. Number 1 is the help of Allah. Without the help of Allah, you can never achieve anything. You may have the best of technique, best of knowledge. My knowledge, if you compare my knowledge to the other Muslims, there are thousands and hundreds of thousands of people more knowledgeable than me. I'm nothing. If you look at my background, I was a stammerer since childhood. If anyone asked me the name when I was a child, I would say my name is Zakir. I was a stammerer. If I dreamt, I could have dreamt of becoming the best doctor in the world. I couldn't have dreamt of speaking in front of 25 people. I could have dreamt of becoming the best doctor in the world. Possible, in a dream you can dream anything. But I was so bad in public speaking, I was a stammerer. Even in my dream, I could not speak could not think or dream of speaking in front of 25 people. But if Allah helps you, none can overcome you. If Allah forsakes you, who is there then who can help you? So let the believers put their trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number one. Number two, Allah says in Surah An-Kabut chapter 29 verse 69, if you strive, if you do jihad, if you struggle in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah opens up your pathways. What you have to do is struggle and strive. If your pathway is not open, who's to blame, Allah or you? Who's to blame? Allah or you? Allah says that if you strive and struggle, Allah will open up your pathways. If your pathways are not open, who is to blame, you or Allah? Who's to blame? You. That means you're not struggling correctly. You have to strive harder. If you strive harder, you have to get success. It's mentioned in the Quran. Number one is Allah's help. Number two is striving. Number three, Allah says in Surah Nahl chapter 16 verse 43 and Surah Anbiya chapter number 21 verse number 7. Fasalu ahli zikri in kuntum la ta'lamun. If you don't know, ask the person who's knowledgeable. Last is technique. People ask me, brother, what's the technique? Technique is last. Number one is Allah's help. How do you get Allah's help is important. You read the Quran, implement on the teachings of Quran and the authentic hadith, Allah's help will come to you. The more you strive to fulfill the commandment of Allah, the more Allah gives you success. I could not dream in speaking in front of 25 people, and mashallah, inspired by Sheikh Deedat, I started speaking. 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000, 1 million people. You know, when I started, my knowledge was less, and now also it is less. I thought, okay, I'll become like Sheikh Deedat. Sheikh Deedat had spoken to 12,000 people in Birmingham with the debate with Anis Farouz. I thought, okay, one day, inshallah, I will address an audience of 12,000. That was a wrong goal. I was very young. Then I realized that how many people you speak to is not the target, is not your goal. But Allah made me fulfill my wrong goal also. 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people, alhamdulillah. That is not the goal. Our goal is Jannah. So number one is the help of Allah. To acquire the help of Allah, you have to strive in the way of Allah and follow the hadith and the Quran. And last is technique, that is planning. First is Allah's help, then is striving, then you plan. Okay, see to it that you go to a person who's an expert. See to it that he may give you technique. But number one is Allah's help, then is striving, and third is technique. And inshallah, we have in our school young children, age of 10, 12, 15, they rattle off verses of the Quran. MashaAllah. I'm not Hafizul Quran, they're better than me. They can rattle off better than me. Bible, Quran, my son, MashaAllah. English is better than me, Arabic is better. I don't know Arabic as a language. My son speaks Lugha Fusa, my daughter speaks Lugha Fusa. My daughter's English is much better than me. But I always tell my children, if Allah doesn't help you, all your knowledge is useless. First you have to strive to get Allah's help. And the only way you can get Allah's help is if you strive. And we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may He help us to fulfill our goal and our purpose in life, and may He raise all of us in Jannat al-Firdaus, inshallah. Hope that's the question.
Thank you. Now we move on to the last question from the sister to my left, right behind. Please state your name, your profession, and your question briefly.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Ansha Azhar. I'm a UITM student in Diploma in Science. And my question is, what should depression patient to do have purpose on life rather than commit suicide? Thank you.
Sorry, I did not hear the question, sister. Can you
repeat the question,
repeat the question, please, sister? Slowly.
What should depression patient to do?
Sorry, what should you?
Depression patient to do to have a purpose on life rather than commit suicide.
What should?
Depression patient.
Depression. What should a depressed person do?
Yes, to have purpose on life rather than commit suicide.
What should a depressed person do to have purpose on life when he wants to commit suicide?
Rather than commit suicide.
Rather than commit suicide. Mashallah. The sister asked the question, what should a depressed person do to have a purpose in life rather than commit suicide? The best is read the Quran. Master key. This Quran, no secret, open secret, master key. The glorious Quran is the most positive book in the world. It is a proclamation to humanity. It is a fountain of mercy and wisdom. It's a warning to the heedless. It's a guide to the erring. It's a hope to those in despair. It's a solace to the suffering. And it's a guide to the erring. So this Quran is a wealth. If you read the Quran with understanding, it is the best solution for the problems of humanity. You know, my father, he was a psychiatrist. May Allah have mercy on him. And he was one of the first Muslim psychiatrists of the country. This Quran is the best treatment for most of the psychological diseases. Because a person is depressed, why? Why is he depressed? He feels, what is the purpose of living? So if you don't have a purpose of living, what do? You want to commit suicide. You may think, okay, my purpose in life is that I want to earn maybe 10,000 ringgit a month. Oh, I'm only earning 2,000 ringgit. What do? You want to commit suicide. Correct? You may say, okay, my purpose in life is that, I want to come out first in university. Okay, you cannot come out first. Then what do? You want to commit suicide. You feel that you're a failure in life. You are a failure in life. If you read the hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when a person wants to earn 10,000 ringgit, 20,000 ringgit, if you read the hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the 2 rakah sunnah of Fajr that you read is more valuable than the world and the wealth in it. If you read 2 rakah sunnah of Fajr, you are more richer than Bill Gates. Our Prophet said 2 rakah sunnah of Fajr is more valuable than the earth and the wealth in it. Does Bill Gates have all the wealth in the world? No. Not even 0.1%, 0.001%. But you should have that faith. And if you know that if you're going to strive for the akhirah, where you will get Jannah, as the Quran says, with rivers flowing beneath the earth, with best of fruits and multiple things. Then, and if you read, if you commit suicide, you'll go to hell. Then will you commit suicide? If you read the verse of the Quran in Surah Baqarah, chapter number 2, verse number 195, do not make your own hand the cause of your own destruction. Suicide is haram. It's one of the major sins in Islam. So then he says, okay, this life is temporary, like 50 years, 30 years. If I have problems in 30 years, akhirah eternal, Jannah, will he commit suicide? Treatment. The Quran has the best treatment. The Quran is the best healing. So for such people, the best is Quran and Sahih Hadith, and inshallah, the solace they will have, the peace they will have, the tranquility they'll have, they would want to live so that they enter Jannah. Hope that answers the question, sister. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.